What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we're gonna check out every WWE wrestler fired in 2024. Where are they now? For some people, wrestling in WWE doesn't pan out career-wise, and they end up getting released and go on to do whatever, they ended up wanting to do, whether it's go into acting, go into sports, or whatever the case may be, they end up doing something else. So we're going to check out some of the wrestlers that were released last year and what they are doing right now. Appreciate all the love and support y'all shown on the channel. Let's get right into it, man.
You've been served.
Not Shane McMahon.
What happened to every WWE release star in 2024? Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on WrestleMania XL. Kevin Patrick. Our fans were stunned when it was announced that Kevin Patrick had been let go by WWE. Patrick had worked extremely hard in the commentary role, and although he wasn't exactly Jim Ross in the booth, he was improving week by week, and it seemed like a massive shame for WWE to let him go. The release was said to be amicable, and according to Patrick, during an interview with Chris Van Vliet, he was now able to focus on football. Football was always going to win. If there was ever a collision, and there was one on the horizon, very clearly on the horizon, if I'm in Boise, Idaho on a Friday night, for example, doing SmackDown, how am I going to be in the studio in New York at 1 o'clock on Saturday? This was coming. I also wasn't their long-term guy. They needed someone who's all in. Michael Cole has missed 2 shows in 27 years.
Yeah.
Patrick made a plethora of friends during his stint in the company, so it's likely that the door isn't closed on a WWE return, well, someday.
Possibly.
Amari Miller was let go in early 2024, and according to Miller during an interview with WrestlingNews.co, her release came down to WWE not having anything for her in the creative aspect. It was mostly just creative, like they didn't have anything for me creatively. My contract was ending anyway. Coach was saying that he will always put his name behind me if he needed, so there's a very good, tight relationship between me and WWE right now. And Miller is still continuing a wrestling journey, wrestling in both Ring of Honor and Stardom. Hopefully one day she finds herself back in WWE.
And once again, it's one of those things where it may not work for you at that moment. Sometimes you gotta, go somewhere else, make a bigger name for yourself, and maybe, you end up coming back. Or maybe you go somewhere else and really build up your name and legacy. So it seems like they probably had a mutual agreement on parting ways, but it doesn't seem like there's any type of issues, and possibly maybe she does make a return after she makes a bigger name for herself on the independent scene.
Hindu Share. Now both Veer and Sangha were 2 of the release names that didn't come as a surprise in 2024.
Yeah.
Both men, particularly Veer, were set for big-time pushes at various stages, but they never just panned out. Now, ever since Veer, real name Rinku Singh, was released from WWE, he seems to have given up the stardom lifestyle and has now become a Hindu monk.
Oh, wow.
Monk who renounces worldly life is called a sannyasi, and this means that Veer has virtually given up all materialistic belongings in life. As for Sangha, not much is known, but he may be following a career in acting in Bollywood. Reggie. And most fans know Reggie for his run on the main roster
pretty cool.
and his involvement in the feud between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Reggie has also had a somewhat notable run as scripts in NXT, and he was evidently a hard...
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, that mask.
Reggie has also had a somewhat notable run as
that shit was hideous.
Scripts in NXT.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that mask. I was never a fan of it. It just didn't. It doesn't appeal to me.
And he was evidently a hard worker that was well liked. Reggie has lit the world on fire since his WWE release, as he has wrestled for various promotions.
Yeah, I have seen his clips.
And Ring of Honor. Reggie has shown that you can still make a living wrestling for companies other than WWE or AEW, and he deserves a ton of praise for picking himself back up after his sudden release.
As you should.
Xia Li handled her WWE exit in the best way, as she was extremely respectful and even thanked Triple H and other talent.
Yeah, they didn't. They literally... Could she have worked? Maybe. But the times that we did see on TV, she wasn't presented as someone to be taken seriously. They didn't really do much with her. And I don't know. She could have worked. But we don't know what was going on behind the scenes when it came to, them having creative ideas for her. But yeah, they you would see her, and it didn't really lead nowhere.
Quickly found herself signing for TNA, and the former WWE star has been a fantastic addition to the stacked women's roster there. Cameron Grimes. The WWE clearly brought Cameron Grimes up to the main roster without a creative plan in place. Grimes had just lingered around the main roster with nothing to do, and when he was released, it was a total disappointment as WWE had just wasted his run.
Yeah.
According to Grimes, during an appearance on Busted Open Radio, he was promised that he would always have a job in WWE.
Damn.
Literally, the last time I was at TV, I had a pretty high executive telling me because, I was worried. Starting the stock market gimmick, it made me see businesses in a different light. Following these companies and playing with stocks, I would see things in a different light. I knew that I haven't worked in over a year and I'm making a decent salary, so I knew that if someone wants to look at the books, I'm going to be the first person that's going to be cut if you're looking at strictly a money-wise. But if you're looking at it is like, okay, well, this is a talent that can do something for us, then they're going to keep me. I was told by a high executive last week on Friday that I would always have a job here. I would never have to worry about losing my job here.
Damn.
Sadly, that wasn't the case, and since his WWE exit, Grimes has reverted to his Trevor Lee name and has taken the independent scene by storm, winning titles all across the globe.
Which is awesome. It's unfortunate someone said that, and maybe they believed that. Maybe they thought, yeah, this is someone we can keep around, but someone probably higher than them, was like, nah, we need to get them out of here. We're not really utilizing them. So you hate to get, false expectations, and I can understand why someone would feel some type of way about that. Like, y'all promised me I would always have a job here, only to let me go. So what was going on there?
Zion Quinn. Zion Quinn was mostly known for his work on NXT as well as his very brief run on the main roster in summer 2024, getting demolished by Bron Breakker. Since his WWE departure, Quinn has found himself wrestling for the TNA Explosion show, but it's not been confirmed if Quinn is signed to an official TNA contract. Von Wagner. Von Wagner was one of the standout stars of NXT 2.0, and when he was released in 2024, it was confirmed that Wagner was listed as a main roster talent. Now, Wagner hasn't wrestled since his WWE exit, and it's unclear if there's any interest from other companies for his talents. Jinder Mahal.
Oh boy!
Surprise when Jinder Mahal was released from his contract in 2024.
Boy!
Mahal was in the WWE title match on Raw just before his release.
Yeah.
It looked like WWE were actually getting set to push him once again. Mahal reflected on his release during an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and according to Mahal, he was always planning on taking a break from WWE.
Oh.
Started off the year with The Rock, had the WWE Championship match. 1 week later, I'm not in the Royal Rumble, which I thought was very weird. We talked to talent relations and said, listen, if there's nothing for us, we can go our separate ways. Sure enough, a few months later, we went our separate ways.
Damn.
We didn't ask for our releases, it was just, hey, if there's no plans, we can discuss going our separate ways. My contract I signed for 5 years in April 2019. They added on 18 months for injury time, and that was remaining on my contract. When I signed for the 5 years, I told myself, after 5 years, I have to go and do something else now. I had my mind made up that in 2024, I was going to at least temporarily go away from WWE. Since his release, Mahal still finds himself wrestling on the independent circuit, wrestling names such as Joe Hendry and Bully Ray. He's now going by the ring name of Raj Desi. Gable Stevenson.
Now, here's the thing about this. I know some of y'all gonna make your jokes in the comments. I was never someone that was hoping that he would get released. Was I the biggest fan of Jinder Mahal? No, not really. Didn't really care for his wrestling. Didn't really care for, his character overall. But I will say this, the fact that last year they involved him with The Rock and the world title scene, and then after that he was pretty much back to catering, was kind of weird, because you would think you being involved with The Rock, having a segment with The Rock, and having a world title match, and then you back to catering, it was like, what was the purpose? It was very confusing. Very confusing. But hey, he clearly, in his mind, he was ready to take a break from WWE. They didn't have nothing for him, so they went their separate ways. And hopefully he's doing well on the independent scenes and just kind of enjoying what he's doing for himself. So I know y'all gonna make y'all jokes. Don't hinder the gender. I was never trying to hinder the gender. He just wasn't my personal favorite in the company.
The WWE had high hopes for Gable Steveson, but he wasn't just progressing at the level they wanted. Steveson was also a controversial name, which certainly didn't help his standing in the company.
No, it didn't.
According to The Observer, Steveson was on a big money contract before WWE decided he wasn't cutting it. All these cuts were done on the same day. A lot of people in the amateur world are going, oh my god, how horrible if they cut him 3 weeks ago. But they probably weren't thinking cuts 3 weeks ago. The reality is it's another one. His contract was a very big money contract and he wasn't cutting it. That's the thing. Now Steveson is now hoping to try his hand at MMA. Maybe hopefully that brings him more success than his WWE run. Steveson had also signed a 3-year deal with the Buffalo Bills of the NFL. However, he was even released by the Bills in August of 2024.
Yeah.
Indy Hartwell. According to Indy Hartwell, she didn't see her WWE release coming in 2024, and for good reason. Hartwell was being regularly featured on main roster programming, and it seemed like an odd call to release the former NXT Women's Champion. She only recently saw out her 90-day no-compete clause, and now that Hartwell is free to work again, she will likely remain wrestling in the US.
Oh, for sure.
Tegan Nox's WWE release in 2024 was extremely frustrating, as despite being brought back to the company after initial release, WWE never had any creative plans for her in place. Injuries were definitely a hindering factor in Nox being given a push, but even still, Nox was utterly wasted on the main roster.
She was.
Tegan Nox is building her return to the independent scene, as only a week ago she was made a free agent. She currently has a booking in South Wales on May 18th. Dijak. When Dijak was called up to the main roster in 2020,
this was very surprising because he was getting really over on social media and he was doing some pretty good stuff in NXT. So I was very surprised by this.
Fans were elated. Dijak had an outstanding second run in NXT and now he was ready to take the main roster by storm. Unfortunately, this main roster run never got going as he was released from his WWE contract. It's never been reported on why WWE didn't decide to renew his contract, however it's possible that WWE simply had no creative plans for him on the main roster. Dijak has worked a number of independent dates since his WWE release and now he finds himself in MLW. Odyssey.
Honestly, I do feel like they could have found something for him. He could have did something for sure. Don't know if they wanted to, but he definitely could have found. They could have put him somewhere on the card.
Jones. Odyssey Jones was set to be involved in a major storyline with the New Day on WWE television, taking Big E's place in the New Day, but that was until he was mysteriously pulled from all WWE marketing and programming. Well, it turned out that Jones had domestic abuse allegations made against him, and WWE decided to outright fire him. And Jones then went quiet following his release before resurfacing in early 2025. In a video posted to social media, he stated that he was innocent and that he had an injunction in place and was pursuing legal action. Drew Gulak.
And once again, we truly still don't know the whole, whole scope or the full story of that situation, but anything involving that, bro, most likely WWE is going to cut ties with you unless you're like a big time star or somebody they really plan on using. For the most part, they're gonna cut ties with you, bro. That's just a business aspect of it. Even if it's not true, even if they do their investigation and don't find nothing, they're gonna most likely cut ties with you. If you're just getting started, they're just starting to use you, yeah, they're just gonna cut their losses.
Rousey was one of the first names to bring allegations against Drew Gulak. Rousey claimed that Gulak pulled her drawstring on her pants backstage in 2022, and Gulak was investigated by WWE, and just a few weeks later, he was let go by the company. Triple H and Shawn Michaels would claim that Gulak's contract simply expired. However, it was widely reported that he was labeled a bully backstage. Now, he's now since worked a number of independent dates, but it's now going to be a tough task for the former Cruiserweight champion to win back the support of fans, especially with him using the allegations as a promotional angle in TNA.
Yeah, and that's not good too. That's definitely, you're not using the allegations to kind of prop up some type of angle. It's not good. It's not good at all, especially something like that.
MVP. Wrestlers speaking bad about WWE upon leaving isn't anything new, and MVP didn't exactly have any positive thoughts to say about the current leadership. Following his exit, MVP was interviewed by Drop the Heat, and he was asked why he felt he needed to leave WWE. He mentioned, "I didn't want to re-sign, and let it be known that I wasn't going to re-sign because the new management in place. I don't care where you work, whatever you do for a living, when new management comes in, it's good for some people and not good for other people.
This is true.
New people come in, old people go. So I just felt like it was definitely time to go because the new management just wasn't for me, and it ain't for him. Now MVP has since found himself in AEW, where
Yeah.
he reformed the stable formerly known as the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley.
And they're doing great stuff. I love what they're doing with them in AEW. So soon as they left, soon as MVP left, soon as Bobby Lashley left, yeah, they're doing some good stuff. Sheldon Benjamin, I was like, yeah, they're probably going to go to AEW. And they are doing great stuff over there.
One of the wrestlers who suffered under Triple H's leadership was Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
The game and Lashley never had a connection, and this is what ultimately led to him exiting the company. WWE just never had any concrete plans in place, which was incredibly frustrating, as numerous mega matches such as Lashley versus a heel Roman Reigns were never explored. And Bobby Lashley now finds himself signed with TNA, and since signing his AEW deal, he's been presented as one of their top stars.
Yeah.
Ricochet.
Yeah, I do feel like they dropped the ball with that, but we heard it from Lashley himself. He said Vince catered to him more than Triple H did. He did, honestly. He did. So it's really unfortunate, but hey, they're doing great stuff in AEW. So if it's not working for you in one company and it's kind of panning out the way you wanted to in another company, who am I to tell you that's the wrong decision, you know?
Ricochet's reasoning for leaving WWE in 2024 made all the sense in the world.
For sure.
Ricochet explained during an interview with Chris Van Vliet that newer talent were being pushed before him, and he wanted to sign with a company that reignited his spark for wrestling. I felt like I was starting over with the Bron Breakers and the Ely and the Carmelos and just new guys coming in. I was going to go to whoever ignited that spark in me again, and I felt like AEW could be that gasoline for my fire. I feel like I made the right choice. Now, it's widely reported that WWE attempted to re-sign Ricochet with a new contract, but he would sign for AEW instead, hoping that Tony Khan's promotion would turn his fortune around. Ricochet has been playing a heel in AEW, a heel that gets mocked at quite frequently. And Baron Corbin.
How do y'all feel about, what they've been doing with Ricochet? I'm still warming up to it. Still warming up to it. The whole still gotta get used to, but it seems like, he's embracing it. He's embracing that he's getting the boos. He's embracing the hate. So he's kind of playing it up. Still gonna give it some more time, but it seems like they're doing something with him that he can sink his teeth into, and the people can somewhat get behind him as a heel. So.
A former Mr. Money in the Bank Baron Corbin deserves all the credit in the world for getting numerous characters over. Corbin was given a range of characters during his WWE tenure, and the majority of them were well received. Corbin's most notable work came with the Bum-Ass Corbin character, which is a character that showed WWE that Corbin had what it took to deliver compelling character work. But he struggled in 2024 to keep his place on the main roster, as despite a vastly underrated second run in NXT, Triple H just didn't know what to do with him. Corbin was said to be popular backstage, and he was established as being one of the safest workers in the entire company. In the aftermath of his WWE release, Corbin has explored new ventures, including jiu-jitsu and competing for the GCW promotion. But there you have it, folks.
Hey,
what happened?
People out here, trying to make some things shake. If it doesn't work in one situation, that's why you always keep going, and it may work in another situation. So I'm wishing the best for Baron Corbin. Keep doing this thing out there, legitimately putting in the beats on people. So that's awesome to see for himself and everyone else that was listening to this video. Outside of the ones that are hyping up allegations and stuff to further storylines. Not the biggest fan of that, but hey, you do what you want. It's your life. But comment down below. Let me know some other wrestling related videos y'all want me to check out. I definitely will. Appreciate all love, support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See y'all next one. Peace.